What's up, YouTube? It's Justin from Man Bassing. Welcome to the breakdown. I've got a pretty good one today. I caught a smallmouth, pretty big smallmouth. I was pretty happy. It was probably my biggest smallmouth that I've ever caught. I don't know. I don't carry scales with me, so I don't know what it weighed, but it was pretty big. I'll show you the video. The breakdown is a new series of videos I started where I really go over. There's not a lot of action. If you want action, just like straight fishing, catch a fish, check out my fishing adventures. The breakdown's really more technical aspects like boat positioning, structure cover, contours, water depth, temperature, time of year, things of those nature. And I really just sort of break down like the lures I was using, my setup, my reel rod and line combo. Try to cover like every little aspect of that particular catch, or maybe sometimes as I get more efficient with this process, I'll put it on two fish, but I'm doing one for today and it was pretty awesome. And if you're like anything I mention here in the breakdown, any of the equipment I use, I'll have Amazon links for them in the description box so you can check them out on Amazon. If you use the link, it helps me out. I get a commission off those sales. It doesn't cost you more money. It's just I get a commission off those sales. So I'd appreciate it. Goes a long way. It'd be super helpful. But anyways, I caught this largemouth on Sunday, May 19th. And it was really like, we had ice out about 3 weeks ago. So I just, that day I ended up, that weekend I caught 5 bass. And I caught 3 smallmouth and 2 largemouth. And it's been a tough couple of weeks for me. Pre-spawn, like ice out to pre-spawn is where I really struggle. So this was like, this felt really good. And I almost duff it. I almost completely miss it just because my boat was drifting towards rocks. And I had to you'll see in the video. Anyways, I'll play it. And when I come back, we'll talk about where I was in the water, the lure I was using, what I was trying to do to like put me on a pattern for those fish. So here's the video. Oh, we're gonna fish this area. Oh, dude. That felt good. This isn't a bad one. Got him good. Good smallmouth. Whoo-wee, you in Maine for show. Yeah, baby. Come here. Just barely got this guy. Am I recording? Yeah. Ah, thank goodness. Pliers for it. Was not expecting you, big girl. When the smallmouth gets you, you in Maine for show. Holy cow, you are gorgeous. Spro rat. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I'm gonna bring up the contour map. Here it is, and you can see where that red circle is. That's where I have my boat positioned. I was right in between 2 sets of rocks, and I cast out towards land, which is to me usually when I catch bass, I'm cast at this time of year, like on those rocks, and the water temperature. Water temperature is about 53 degrees. We're 3 weeks away past ice out. Usually when I catch smallmouth, it's when I'm casting away from land. They're in deeper water. So it was really surprising for me to catch this bass there. And you can see, like, you see where to the left, like right, there's a number 12 there if you look closely, 12 feet. There's like 2 rock like elevation increases, and then the number 12. And then slightly past that to the left is like a contour that declines, right? So it's almost like a bowl, right? Like it dips down like that, and then on both sides it goes up higher. And that's about where I caught that bass. So just something to pay attention to and look for on your contour maps are those little decreases of depth, or I should say increases of depth. Those contours that dive down, and anywhere where there's an incline or a point, there's almost like a little point there too if you look closely. A couple points actually. So you want to pay attention to those on your sonar. The sonar I was using was a Lowrance Hook 2. Here's a picture of it. I can link that up in the description box. By the way, I made these maps on CMap Genesis, and if you have a Hook, a Lowrance unit, you can make your own custom contour maps. You can download social maps. That's what I do. It's not the most efficient way to get contour maps, but it's still better than nothing. You're not fishing blind. So that was, I was headed home, and I said, you know what, I'm just going to cast these rocks. I've had luck on rocks in the past. We'll see what happens. And there we go. I caught that giant smallmouth. I was very happy with. So let's talk about, while this is up, let's talk about I want to talk about the lure I was using and sort of my cast presentation, because you see I almost muffed that big time, but it could have been the reason it was so effective. But for the lure, and I'll link this up in the description box, this is a Spro BBZ1 rat. It's like 5 1/4 ounces, like the body, and then with the tail it's like 7.5 ounces, or 7.5. I'm sorry, it's 5 1/4 inches, and then with the tail it's like 7.5 inches, I think, 8 inches. I think it's like 2.5 ounces. So I mean, it's not that heavy, but it is pretty big. And these are size 3 Gamakatsu trebles. And it's got your dive guard here. I forget what you call this. This plate right here, I forget what it's called, but you get the crank plate or whatever. But you can actually crank this. If you reel in real fast, put your rod tip down, you can crank it for it goes down about 1 inch. But it's really a topwater bait. Super effective. Caught a lot of bass with this. I've caught a lot of bass, big bass too. Like bass hammer this thing. I love this. This is my all-time favorite lure. It just catches bass almost any time of the year. You need, for your setup to throw this, you need like kind of a very specific setup. And it's like my setup for the rat, the rat 50, Spro BBZ1 rat 50 is pretty exclusive. I use, for the reel, it's a Shimano Corrado 300E. The one I have, I'll put a picture up, but it's a newer model. You can see if you watch my video, I have the older model. It's about, I think it's a 6.3 to 1 gear ratio. A little bit on the slower side, but that's okay. For the rat, I don't think you want anything over a gear ratio of 7. You don't want it too fast. But you definitely want like a 300 size reel. And I'll link up the Shimano Corrado 300E. I've never used it, so that's kind of like a guess here. I'm thinking it's good. I don't know. I've never used it. I don't know how it would pair with that. But if you're throwing any other bigger baits, it wouldn't be a bad idea. And the pole I use, it's really even hard to find a picture of it, so I'll just show you. I have another setup, but this is a Cousin Ray's 8 foot extra heavy pole. It's real beefy, fast tip. It's if you want the serial number, because it's hard to find these. I don't even know if I can have an Amazon link for these, but it's an RSWB 807 PT, 8 foot, 0 inches, extra heavy. So it can hold. It's meant for lures of 3 to 8 ounces and 15 to 30 pound line. Made in the USA, one piece. Super sturdy. I've had these for like 4 years, I think now. Eyes are really, I mean, it's an extra heavy, so. But if you're doing any like heavy pitching or flipping or anything like that, these things can come in handy. I love the Cousin Rays. A little bit expensive, but for 4 years and not breaking, I'm pretty happy. I'll take that. And the line I was using for the rat, and this is very specific. This is like, you know, I don't really use any other lures with this setup, but it's 25-pound Maxima Ultra Green monofilament. And I'll put a link down below and a picture up for you so you can see it. So it's very much an exclusive setup. I catch so many bass that it was worth spending the money to only throw one lure on. But just like that rat, man, it's just awesome. Like, it's just so awesome. You can pitch it by docks, bring it past the docks slowly. They hammer it. You can pitch it. You can't really throw it in grass or anything because it'll get, you know, with the treble hooks, it'll get wrapped up in grass. But you can pitch it along the weed lines, you know, like so that they're parallel, the weed lines. Just super effective, and it really attracts bigger bass. Super awesome. So that was the setup. I highly, highly recommend it, especially if you're new to fishing. Like, you'll have a lot of success with that setup, and it'll keep you more interested in fishing. You know, my first season with that setup alone, I must have caught 40 or 50 bass. My first season, I had no idea what I was doing fishing. So it's definitely pretty cool. So that was the setup, and now I kind of just want to talk about. Like my whole cast. I almost muffed it. You know, like you saw me cast out, and the minute the lure hit, I looked over in front of my boat and I saw rocks. So it was like, oh my God, I had to put my reel down, my rod down, and then hit the trolling motor so I wouldn't crash into rocks. Picked my rod reel back up, reeled in a little. I got a hit right away. But then I wasn't sure. I thought I lost the fish because I was like not paying attention. I had the rocks to deal with. But I got a bite. Tried to set the hook. Didn't do a good job, but I was heading for rocks again. So I had to like reposition the boat again with the rod in my hand. And then at that point, I wasn't sure what was going on with the fish, if I had it or not. I reeled in, noticed I had it, so I set the hook and then brought the fish in. Now, my disaster, my debacle, might have been the reason for success. So I like cast out, and then the lure hit and this splashes down, man. It attracts fish from everywhere. They get really curious about it. But I didn't do anything with it after 15 seconds, so I like dead sticked it. And then I started reeling, and I got a bite immediately. So consider that technique when you're casting really anything, to just let your lure have a little patience, let your lure hit the water, let it dead stick it for a little while, don't do anything, and then reel in, and then maybe pause. I find with a rat, like, it's usually not necessary. Like, and I also find too that like as soon as it hits the water, you have to reel because you get a bite instantly. Like, the fish love that bait, man. They just absolutely hammer it. So, but that dead stick is just a technique to consider when you're fishing. And so that's it, really. I don't really have much more to say. If this is short enough, I don't know how long this is going to be. I might put another fish on here. I'm not sure. I'm trying to make up my mind right now. Another catch, but for right now, like, pre-spawn, when that water starts to heat up above 48, 50 degrees, start looking on those rocks. And I think, like, my success, it's like better in the afternoon, like after 11 o'clock. You give the rocks a chance to heat up, and those bass will come on those rocks and look for food. So it's just it's something to consider. Pre-spawn can be really tough for a lot of anglers. I mean, if you watch like FLW or Bassmasters, like when they have those pre-spawn tournaments, like some of the best anglers in the world are not bringing home much because the fish just aren't really aggressive that time of year. So you want to like consider any information you have, and that's why I'm making this video. So anyways, that's basically the video. If you're interested in anything I'm using here, check the links in the description box. Get that rat. It will help you catch a lot of fish, I promise, guaranteed. But you need this setup. You can't like go throwing this on like a medium pole, you know, 7'2" medium pole. It'll just bend the pole over. you won't be able to set the hook effectively. That setup is pretty ideal for pressure to set the hook on those bigger fish. So that's the video. Hope you liked it. Hope to help. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned. I'll make more. I make more of these breakdown videos where I talk about what I kind of geek out, talk about what I'm doing. And I hope you catch real big bass soon. Thanks. Bye.